level. Danica, this is so exciting. I'm so excited to have you here. We've had some technical glitches, but we are back. So this is like the seventh time. Here we go.
We got this.
We got this. So I met you when we started working with GAC, the Great American Family Network, and it was originally Great American Christmas, and you are the queen of Christmas. You have done.
I am not. You have done. There are a lot of us, but I have done 11 Christmas movies. I will say over the last, I guess, 11 years. I did one. So I did one for Lifetime, 7 for Hallmark, and now I've just done my 3rd for Great American Family Channel that just came out this Christmas season, A Cinderella Christmas Ball, which I have to say is my favorite, because I got to do one of my favorite things in the world, which is ballroom dance. So I got to do the waltz. I helped to write this movie. Actually, this movie I had been trying to get made for like 4 years. So back starting at Hallmark, and it just didn't happen. And then it was going to happen the year before here at Great American, but then the strike was going to happen. And so we're like, we don't have enough time. So we had to do one that didn't take as much prep, because there's a lot of prep that goes into a big ballroom dance movie with all the rehearsals and like finding the right kind of co-star who can learn it and who has time to train and all that. So it was, we got pushed again. And then finally this past Christmas, it came out, and I'm super proud of it. A Cinderella Christmas Ball. Plus there's something about like the word Cinderella. It was just fulfilling a lot of childhood fantasies.
Yeah.
And I don't know, as an actress, I'm sure you can relate. Like sometimes that's kind of what it's about, just for a moment here and there.
You know what's so interesting is just how long it takes for any project to get off the ground. I have a project that's been like 5 years in the making, and we're finally getting like a showrunner, and it's this incredible, Oscar winner who's been nominated a bazillion times. He's one of the goats. He's one of the legends. I don't want to talk too much about it until it's finally like out there and, it's sold and the whole thing. But it's been a process where it just takes years and years and years. So walk me through that process. What was that like for you? You write something and then you pitched it, and then they're like, great, let's do it. And then it gets put on hold and then shelved. And then it went to a new network.
As you know, we don't get to know. Like we know, look, these movies cost a lot of money. They cost millions of dollars to make. And so, who am I to be like, hey, you should have those millions of dollars put aside for this particular project right now? I don't know. Like, I don't know all the things they go through on the financial end of it, whatever. So for me, I'm just like, I'm a producer on my movies, but I'm really just a creative producer. I don't even see the budgets. Like, I don't get into all of that. I know some people do. I know Candace does, but she's got her own production company, and I just don't even see. So I can't tell you exactly what the delays are about, but I do know that everything happens when it's supposed to. And this was great. This happened. So one of the good things, this happened after a movie I did for Great American called Swing Into Romance. And that was my first dance movie. And because of that movie, I met Gleb Savchenko, who is a pro on Dancing with the Stars. And he was actually in that movie with me. And I got to do dancing with him. And then he ended up choreographing the waltzes for Cinderella Christmas Ball. So if I hadn't done it like that, if there hadn't been that one delay, then we wouldn't have had Gleb as a choreographer, and it wouldn't have been nearly as magical, because he's like, it's incredible. And by the way, Swing Into Romance is not a Christmas movie. It's just a romantic comedy, but it's all about swing dancing. And that's available on YouTube. Great American Family has a YouTube channel, so it is legally on. Sometimes movies are posted on YouTube illegally, but this is a legal way to watch Swing Into Romance on YouTube. And I hope you guys who are listening or watching this will check it out. I'm very proud of it. Actually, my husband came up with the idea for that movie, because I said I want to like swing dance in a movie, and he came up with this story about needing to save the family farm, and there's a big dance competition with a big cash prize, but I've got. I haven't danced in years. I don't have a partner, but then my ex-partner comes into town, played by Gleb Savchenko with his Russian accent. And it was great. And it was fun, because he's not an actor, but now he is. So I was training him in acting. He was training me in dancing, and it's just turned out so great. I'm so proud of it. So Swing Into Romance.
That's amazing. So you were also in Dancing with the Stars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you also? So when you're getting into shape, I mean, kind of, there's a part of me that just wants to be able to like do a musical for a movie, like something like Chicago. So I can get into shape and I can be training nonstop. Right. So is this true? Like when you do the Dancing with the Stars, you get into incredible shape because you're dancing so many hours a day.
You're dancing 6 hours a day, every day. I mean, every single day. And so you're just exhausted. I mean, your body is just completely depleted, but you're also in great shape. So part of what I love about doing these movies with dance in them is that it makes me have a reason to train for something. Not 6 hours a day, but I'm probably training for 6 hours a week, you know, and it's great. I mean, it really makes me feel good, and it's that cardio that's like that sort of light cardio where you're, well, not light, and sometimes it's pretty heavy duty, but you're just kind of get that light sweat going on for hours. That really trims you up.
And did you, so when you were,
and the endorphins, it just feels really good. Dancing is great. Everybody should.
But okay, but also you have to perform in front of a huge crowd, and there's judges, and you're like in a competition. And even though it's like all fun and games, but it is still a competition. Did you feel that?
Stars?
Yes.
Oh,
so
no,
is that?
And like I've said to people, like doing these dance movies, it's like the best parts of Dancing with the Stars without the elimination and without the stress, without the live audience. Because when you're shooting a movie, you have a couple takes to try it again. No, Dancing with the Stars, that was 10 years ago. It was one of the most amazing, terrifying, like rites of passage kind of experience that I've ever had. I would compare it only to like childbirth beats it, but not by a lot, because childbirth, I mean, I did all natural labor, and it was 36 hours of labor, and it was really intense. But this Dancing with the Stars is 3 months.
Were you at home? Did you have
3 months.
You had a home birth?
No.
Oh.
I did have a midwife. A doula. I had a doula. I had a doctor.
Sure.
Right, not a midwife. She actually was a midwife, but she wasn't acting as a midwife for me. But she was my doula. She was kind of like having a birth advocate with you in the hospital. Because in the hospital, when you're there for that long, the doctors, everybody has shifts. They go home and they sleep, and they someone else. But the doula stays with you the whole time.
Oh my God!
That's what she does. Yeah.
So were you just kind of in and out of consciousness?
Yes.
Like when that was happening?
No. Yeah. You're conscious. You're just in and out of like
for 36 hours. That's insane.
Yeah.
And so you were there at the hospital. Oh my God. And no pain meds?
No pain meds. Nope.
Wow.
Not a one.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Was that, I love
the pivot from dancing to childbirth.
We're so going back to, I want to, because, well, it was interesting because you mentioned, you're like, yeah, it was like, and that was really, really hard, but oh my God, but it was like, and I went through 36 hours.
Right. Yeah. So I know challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you had no pain meds, and you're there. I was there for my best friend's home birth, and she was in labor for, I think it was like something like 36 hours, but it felt like an ayahuasca journey, even though I've never done ayahuasca, but it felt like a psychedelic experience of, it was like, we were sort of chanting. We were sort of, me and her best friend, she would sort of chant through, the pain and like, the excruciating pain. So she would breathe and chant, and then we would join in with her, kind of like this ancient ritual of probably how this was all very intuitive, but it felt very profound. And, I filmed her home birth, which was wild. It was sort of like, Susie, here, go. I was like, her mom was like, Susie, here, here would be the phone. And I was like, oh my God.
There's no pictures. There's no video. There was a picture taken after Draco was, like the next day, me holding Draco in the hospital bed. But there's no like, people post on Instagram, like when they're going to labor, they post when they're in the like, I can't even imagine. I mean, I realized that I gave birth 14 years ago, and the world's a little different. But like now, I don't think I would do that. It's so personal.
I my best friend didn't do that either, but I think for a personal, like to have it just for her, for her and her family.
Right. Can you imagine like the entire birth? Here it is.
No. We're not.
Hey, you get a lot of views, right? So trying to help the algorithm.
Yeah. I mean, look, she's very comfortable with her body and herself. But I don't think that would be something that she would want to do. But, okay, going back to the rite of passage of Dancing with the Stars, what was that experience like? Because it's kind of like you're being an athlete and you have to compete. Yeah. And even though it's kind of like fun, but it's still a competition and you still feel the pressure of that. How did you move through those, really heightened moments and you're having to compete against people who are potentially professional dancers? Because sometimes they choose people that are on there who win it and you're like, well, you're a dancer, like they were pop stars.
Meryl Davis, who won that year with Maxim Chmerkovskiy, Val's brother. Val's my partner. She won. She was the gold medal winning, Olympic winning ice dancer, which is basically ballroom dance on ice. So, she won. And I remember because we did the switch up that year, some years they do the switch up. So I actually ended up switching partners. I had Max, who was her partner. I remember him telling me that they used to, so we would start learning the routines on Tuesday and then dress rehearsal was on, Friday was the camera rehearsal, camera blocking. And then Sunday was the dress rehearsal. And then Monday you shoot. So Tuesday's the first day, right? I remember Max telling me, yeah, Meryl learns her routines on Tuesday, and then we just go have coffee for the rest of the week. And I was like, okay, well, that's great. Anyway, I need help all week long. So I need you to babysit me all week long if you can do that and help me learn this.
Yeah. And you have a whole week to learn to dance.
Stars is an amazing experience. It is not a competition. It's a reality show, and it's a fun reality show. I love it. I love that it promotes dancing. It gets people in shape. It helps the celebrities to really look at themselves. Okay, how far, you learn that you can go harder and work harder, accomplish more than you ever thought you could. What an amazing gift. So I'm internally grateful to them. And I never expected to win anyway. So I wasn't stressed about it.
Got it. Oh, you weren't. Yeah. I feel like the competitor in me, just because I just go back to my tennis days and I'm like, okay, and it's like, who cares if you win? It doesn't mean anything. It's more of a fun thing, like you're saying. But I think because it would be something that I'm not as adept at, that's something I don't normally do. And you're having to perform in front of a live audience just feels so intimidating. And, if you screw up, it's, millions of people are going to see it. And so it's just like, oh.
When I was on the show, it was getting 20 million viewers. Night.
Oh my God. How did you move through, or did that affect you? Were you just very excited about the audience? Was that not even an issue? Was that a blip?
So freaked out about remembering your choreography and not messing. That's all you're thinking about. You can't even. And I remember the dress rehearsal, the first dress rehearsal that Sunday, my legs turned to jelly. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't do this. But you just do it anyway. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah. And when you do, the elation that I felt after that first week, I'll never forget. I was on cloud 9.
That's amazing. And how far did you make it?
I danced 8 out of 10 weeks.
Oh my God, that's amazing. You crushed.
It was fun. It was great. I broke a rib though.
Oh my God. How did you heal the rib?
Over a few months after the show.
Does it just naturally heal? There's nothing you can do? You don't tape it up?
I did so much stuff. I did Chinese medicine stuff. I did Western medicine. I did everything. I had this electrical bone stimulation therapy thing that I did. I just magnetic, whatever I could get my hands on, I did. And my x-ray came back 3 months later. You would never even know that it was broken. There wasn't even that extra white that there usually is when a bone breaks and reheals I did. And I just rested. I was actually offered, I believe it was I was offered 2 movies that summer, and I think it was Hallmark. I hadn't worked for Hallmark yet at that point. I just said no. I was like, I have to heal. I can't.
You couldn't walk. Could you not walk? Was it painful to walk? Was it painful to move?
It was but it was painful. If I coughed or something or cleared my throat, I would I just needed to chill out. I just needed everything to stop, spend time with my family, sleep a lot, and do all my therapy stuff for my rib. And that's what I did. And it was great. But
wow.
It was a great experience.
And what are your healing modalities? So you're saying you did Eastern and Western medicine. So what was the Eastern medicine? Was that acupuncture? Do you herbs?
I did gua sha stuff. Do you know what that is?
No.
Like this, they take like a quartz, like, I don't know how to describe it. Almost like a rock, and you rub the area. It stimulates to blood flow or something. Gua sha.
Oh, that's so.
G-U-A.
I have to Google this. Gua sha?
I was like, whatever I can do.
We'll bring this up on the little thing.
My
Jesse,
body.
Can you pull up gua sha? Gua sha?
Gua sha, yeah.
Gua sha.
I'll text you later.
Gua sha. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
He's pulling it up.
That's why I'm like, yeah, these movies with dancing.
Well, gua sha. I think it's with easier. A G.
I'm not getting injured all the time.
It's like a healing thing. I think it's with a G. Gua sha. Gua sha. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah. And vitamins, supplements like magnesium, all sorts of things. So
got it.
Laser therapy as well.
Amazing. Yeah, Jesse, we can pull this up. I guess we'll figure this out. Whatever it is, it's like an herb that you put on, or it's like a rock or something. Okay, so this was a really fun moment that I got to see, and I got to witness you experiencing just how people experience you in the world. And so we were doing an event for the Great American Christmas Festival in New York and Long Island.
It's a park at UBS Arena. And so at UBS Arena, the Islanders were playing.
Yes. And
so they won that night, which is great. Yeah.
And John Ledecky, who's he's become a new dear friend of mine. We just like talk forever. I'm like, please come on my podcast. Like he's so interesting. He's lived such a crazy life. He's such a character, and he's one of the most personable people that you will ever meet. Yep. And he totally took care of us. And we got to sit in the front row of, first of all, he had a box, which has all the food, and the owner suite, which was absolutely incredible. And then we were sitting, and so he goes to every single game, like 3 times a week, and he lives in Manhattan. So it's a huge, it's like an hour away drive, like and the man is in his 60s.
It's his team. I mean,
Yeah. No, so we're there, we're sitting in the front row, and, we're seeing these hockey players just totally like nearly kill each other. And it was really cool because like fans were like, oh my God, Danica. So they love your Christmas movies, but they also loved Wonder Years, Winnie Cooper, and it's so funny because when I posted a pic of the two of us, literally I had a lot of guy friends be like, Winnie Cooper, she is my Mount Crushmore. She is so amazing. I love her so much. Oh my God.
Wait, Mount Crushmore? I have never heard this expression.
So, it's like Mount Rushmore. You have
I know, but what is it?
So
I see there's like
the Mount Crushmore of like there are 4, crushes. It would be amazing. Like you, Denise Richards, like Brooke Shields, like, whoever. So I want to talk about, being a child actor and how to navigate that world, and being Winnie Cooper of one of the most iconic shows of the Wonder Years. What was that like?
I mean, at the time I really didn't have any idea. Like I didn't have a clue. And it was just as well that I didn't. I mean, my parents were great because they didn't overemphasize the importance of Hollywood or my career. Like it just wasn't. It was something I did. It was a cool thing that I did, but it didn't define me. And it didn't define our family. For example, the first year that the Wonder Years was nominated for an Emmy, we didn't go because we already had a summertime trip scheduled with my dad. We were going river rafting in Oregon on the Rogue River, and it was going to interfere. My dad wasn't able to change it with his work schedule. And so we didn't go to the Emmys. And I remember, and we won that year. It was the only year that we won. And I remember being in this little motel room because my dad never liked to spend a lot of money. We were in this little motel room and watching I'm telling you, the television had to have been like from the 70s. It was this little yellow TV with like, the CRT screen.
Yeah, you have to like turn it. There's no remote. You have to like dial like this.
Well, my remote that was like attached with a cord. You probably anyway. So anyway, I remember watching it and seeing that the Wonder Years won and jumping up and down on the bed, being so excited, and then going to sleep and waking up at like 5 a.m. and hitting the river, having the trip of our lives. I mean, I remember it. I have core memories from that trip with my dad and my sister, picking blackberries and fishing and doing minute mysteries around a campfire. And it was just like a great trip. And it was one of the many ways that my parents, walked the walk in terms of what's important is family and togetherness, and you're an actress, but that's not who you are. It's just something that you do. And that kept me grounded. And I think it helped me to avoid a lot of the pitfalls that you see with child stardom.
Oh my God. Literally, I've had, Erin Moriarty on, and we were talking about just, navigating a very adult world and how it can be very predatory, and how it's, you see the Disney kids today and Nickelodeon, you see it's like what's coming out, and it's like a lot of those kids weren't protected, and it's like that's exactly how you do it. If you're going to be an artist and a child actor, you don't take it that seriously. It's like, this is not important, the family and the bond, and making sure that like the priorities are in place. So it's like you've been able to navigate that really adeptly. I mean, it's pretty incredible. Do you have any go ahead.
I will say even then, like when the show ended, it was on for 6 years. And when it ended, that was right when I was graduating from high school and going to college, going to UCLA. And I remember thinking, okay, cool. So that chapter of my life is done with the Wonder Years, done with high school. And I'm going to college and I'm moving on. And so will the rest of the world, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't they? And of course, here we are many, many years later. But when I got to school, it was everybody everywhere I went was like, oh my gosh, it's Winnie. Aren't you that girl, from TV? Aren't you that girl who played Winnie? Aren't you, and hey, Kevin, no, hey, Winnie, where's Kevin? And like, it was everywhere. So I actually joined a sorority to kind of get away from it so that I found like a sorority where the girls seemed really down to earth and fine. And I didn't feel like I was Winnie all the time, but I did need to find out who else I was. And I remember I took I took calculus when I was I wasn't planning on getting a degree in mathematics. I was planning on getting a film degree, but you can't join the film school till the first 2 years of just getting general requirements. And I had taken AP Calculus BC in high school. And so I qualified to take multivariable calculus, which I did anyway, but I was terrible. I was like, oh my gosh, this is college math. Like, it's gonna be so hard. I can't even imagine like the people who are good at college math are like the math people, like from Planet Math. I don't know what
totally
I was
Planet Math.
I did like so well on the first exam. It looked like I didn't, because I got a 22 out of 40. But
wow.
Apparently it was some sort of Weider test, and the professor graphed the scores on the chalkboard. There's 163 people in the class. There was 122, was me. There's 2 15s, and the rest was 9 and below. I remember looking at my test going, wait, that's me. Like, I got the 22, and I was floored. And the professor was like, you have a gift, you need to do this. But the real cincher for me was the next day, one of a student in class tapped me on the shoulder and said, excuse me, aren't you that girl? And I was just sure that he was going to say,
Winnie Cooper.
Yeah. But he said, aren't you that girl who got the 22? I was like, and
finally,
it was such a moment where it was just an opportunity to redefine myself and to figure out who I was beyond just this other character that I was getting praised for and recognized for all the time. But, you start to wonder, like, who else would I be? What would my value be if I didn't have that? Yeah. And so then math became that for me. And then I ended up getting a degree in mathematics. And then a few years after graduating from high school, from college, I started writing math books to help kids. And I have a whole bunch of them now. They're all at McKellarmath.com.
What?
You didn't know this?
No. I'm just finding this out.
Oh,
we've only hung out like 2 times.
Yes.
I can't even believe this. This is amazing. This is why I love the podcast, because I find out.
This is the first book that I wrote. Math Doesn't Suck.
Oh my God. That's like Blossom. Like Blossom. There's
how
like
to
a few.
survive middle school math without losing your mind or breaking a nail. But if you go to McKellarmath.com, I've got books for babies all the way through high school geometry. So, and I've got 11 of them. 11 Christmas movies and 11 math books.
Oh my God. You're like Mylan Balick.
I've been writing math books for almost 20 years.
That's amazing. Do you know Blossom? Mayim
Bialik.
Mayim Bialik.
She had a neuroscience degree from UCLA. We were there at the same time.
That makes sense. That tracks.
I was on her podcast.
Oh my God. And you guys must have talked about this, about neuroscience and math and how,
For sure.
Oh my God, I love this so much. That's so incredible. When did this happen? Was this just as you were coming out of like college, or how did you figure?
Books?
Yeah.
I just, okay. I know one of the things that happened was in July of 2005, a few years after I had graduated from UCLA, and actually backing up, even right after I graduated in 2000, I was invited to speak for the subcommittee of technology in Congress about the importance of women in mathematics. So I was like becoming known for like being like Winnie the Math Whiz was some of the headlines, and then in 2005, a writer from the New York Times, for whatever reason, decided to write an article about me and a math paper that I helped to write, that I helped to prove a theorem when I was in college, and so and at the time I was on the West Wing, and so I'd gone back to acting, and this writer said the headline was, actress becomes between series, so between the Wonder Years and the West Wing, actress becomes superstar in math. And there was like a picture, there was like an image of the paper and the guy we did an interview. I met him in New York, and like it was super fun. Anyway, so from that article, I had 2 different literary agents reach out to my manager to say, hey, we think Danica should write some sort of book about encouraging girls in math, or some sort of math thing. And anyway, and I knew what I wanted to do because I had I talked to so many women, would come to me and when they recognized me, like, I heard you have a degree in math. Why would you do that? That sounds awful. Or, I could never do math. I was like, wait a minute, I need to encourage. And then when I spoke in front of Congress, I had done a bunch of research about what was going on and why weren't there more women in math. And I just learned, like, middle school is the time when the problems really start. And so that's why I was like, I knew I want to write a book for middle school girls. For middle school girls that helps girls embrace math as their own. So they're not some sort of afterthought or sidebar, or like, oh, hey, isn't that something that a girl's good at math? No. You belong in math like anybody, and so that's kind of what started. It was me wanting to advocate for girls in math. And then people are like, we need books for boys too. And the truth is, boys use my books the highest. So I have middle school and high school books. Those I wrote first. Then I went back and started again with like the younger kid books, and then worked my way up through. Like I have a book called The Times Machine. One of my favorites. It's for 3rd and 4th grade kids, boys and girls, and it teaches times tables. Times machine.
That's so fun.
And they're just like, it's just fun. Illustrations and things, just to try to make math
fun,
more accessible. And I'm an entertainer, and I love math, so I want to make math entertaining.
Yeah. It's really funny you say, I remember with some of my friends, so I had, some of my girlfriends were really like genius level, and I would sort of like be right underneath them in terms of like, because I would try to compete. But I think like I had when I was like checked, it was like 135 IQ, which is, it's like I'm gifted. I can qualify for Mensa. I'm just on the lower tier of like, I'm on the dumb group of Mensa. And then there's like my friends who are like, 145 probably IQ or 150 or something, like they were genius level. And so it would be like a couple boys, and we would always, like in 6th grade, and we'd be like, hey, what'd you get? And I'd have to work a little bit harder. My dad would, in 6th grade, he would kind of, before he'd go to work, he would be like, okay, this problem, okay, this. And I'd be like, Dad, can you help me with the homework? Because he was an engineer. So I feel like I got a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. But I loved that competition with friends and sort of like be like, hey, what'd you get? It would be my crush. Shout out to my friend Nate Begnashke and David Irwin. But yeah, they were like genius level math, but we would always be like, oh, I got a higher grade than you. Like, But math and English were my 2 favorite subjects in middle school. But then I think I was more of a storyteller. I think I learned in high school when it started getting too complicated, like calculus. Like I was in AP calculus, but at that point I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I was just like, okay, I've reached my limit of where I think I can go with this. But I think, I loved it. It was definitely one of my favorite subjects growing up. I think that's so cool. So how did you approach Congress? So you're going in front of Congress, and what was that experience like, and what were you proposing?
So what happened was had become known as, like I said, Winnie the Math Whiz. And there was a commission who wanted to get more money for women in college for math. And so they gave me this report, right? So there's a 100-page report that the commission puts out. And then they make an executive summary for Congress to read, because these people are not going to read a 100-page report. Who has time for that, right? But I was asked to talk about this in front of Congress. So I read the whole thing. Plus, I was fresh off being a math major. So I was like, I was very studious and took the whole thing very seriously. And I studied the report, and I saw in the report, okay, so middle school is the time when kids need help, not college. Like, girls need support much earlier than this. By college, it's too late. I had just been a woman in college, and I had just done some original research to help to prove a theorem. It was easy to get money. That was not a problem. In fact, it was easier to get money as a woman. I could only have gotten more. I would have gotten more only if I'd been like part of another minority group in addition. So like that wasn't a problem even back then. So I was like, so in front of Congress, I stated my case, which is it's too late. By college, it's too late. Middle school is the time. We need to pay teachers. If you have money sitting around, pay teachers, middle school teachers, incentivize good teachers to reach this age group. And then we need better PR for math, starting at that age. Encouraging girls to think of math as something that empowers them, not that intimidates them. So all of that, and it took me until, so the commission who's trying to get money for college didn't get their money. And it took me years to reflect and go, wait a minute. They were probably upset that they invited me because they had an agenda and they invited me to support their agenda. And I was so clueless. And I've never been politically minded as it is. But it's funny to look back and go, it was so obvious that they were trying to use me to get more money for their commission, which isn't a bad thing to try to get women money in college, I guess. But it was too late by then. So it was kind of funny looking back. That I was actually frustrating their goals, but at least what it did for me was it put me on a path, because I pledged to Congress that I pledged to you that I will use my position as a recognizable face and a female in math to do what I can to get math better PR. That's great. What I've done ever since. So it put me on that path, even if it wasn't exactly what the intended result was from the people who invited me. Wow. To be fair, like they didn't pay for my ticket or anything. They invited me to come speak, and it was an incredible opportunity. So of course I'm going to throw myself out there and do that. But yeah.
And how long did you have
what they wanted me to say?
And did you have to write things out, or was it?
Oh, you just? I prepared heavily for that.
Okay.
Because I had 4 minutes. I had 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
Okay. Wow.
And then they asked me questions. But the actual, like my statement, and if you look, you can maybe find it online somewhere. It's part of the congressional records. It was July of 2000, I believe. July.
That's 2000. So cool. So do you have any favorite stories or where what was the set like growing up on the Wonder Years? Like, are you still close with, is it Ben Savage? Ben? That's his brother. Younger. I'm thinking of, yeah. Yes. The other brother.
So the Wonder Years was a great experience. It really was. And part of why it was so great was because the parents of the kids really cared about their kids being kids first. I already told you my story about how my mom and dad did not overemphasize the importance of this Hollywood stuff that I was doing. But that was true for all of the parents on that particular set. And it's interesting to note that my mom didn't want acting to take over our lives. So the only reason I was even allowed to audition for the part of Winnie Cooper is because it was supposed to be just a guest role on the pilot episode. That was it.
Oh my God.
I wasn't allowed to audition for series regulars, and I wasn't allowed to audition for feature films. But because that was only supposed to be a guest role, I was allowed to audition. And then a few days into shooting the pilot, so I never went to network. I never did that whole process. For those listening, so when you audition for a series, usually you audition for the casting director, then there's a callback for the producers, and then you go to network, which means the whole network is there, and they kind of put you through the test of
in front of 30 people.
Yes, like a
on
whole bunch
stage.
of people. And on a stage, and there's only like 3 of you. It's really nerve wracking. I've done it many times since.
Oh my God! Yep. Same.
I didn't have to go to network for that. And they said, we just think that Danica and Fred have this great chemistry and we want to offer her a series contract. And my mom was like, I don't know. And I was like, please. And ultimately she said, well, like, because I've already seen like Joanne Savage and Jane Saviano, these moms, Marsha Hervey, they really care about their kids. They're not the typical stage mom that you hear about. And then she got me this fancy lawyer with a loophole. So if I ever wanted to get out, because it's a 7-year contract these sign. I mean, they don't have to keep it going. Back then it was 7 years, not 6. And yeah, so
at the time you didn't sign the contract, so you were just a guest star. So how did it turn into?
They just liked us together.
Wow.
In fact, the end narration for the first episode originally said in the script, it said that was both of our first kiss and our last one together. Wow. And then I remember when the pilot aired and that last part was taken off, it just said that was both of our first kiss. And I was like, wait, are we getting
Does that mean I'm coming back?
My 13-year-old brain, like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. There might be more kissing in my future as an actress. Okay.
Right. Was that a first kiss for you?
It was.
That
it was my first kiss.
Was it?
For both of us. It was both of our first kiss in real life.
The Wonder Years was your first kiss with Fred Savage. That's iconic.
Yeah. And in fact, if you get there's a DVD set. There's like this great DVD set of the Wonder Years. It comes in a locker. It says it's so cute. It's got all this behind the scenes stuff. And one of the behind the scenes features that it has is footage of all 6 of the takes of that kiss. And Fred and I did commentary on it. So we did like an audio commentary on remembering like what that was like. So any super fans of the Wonder Years out there, you got to find the DVD set. I think it was put out like 10 years ago only.
That is so precious. Oh my God.
The music in the Wonder Years was like another character. We had all these great Motown hits as part of what made the show feel iconic even at the time. And when it aired on Hulu, when it was like they don't pay for the music. So they replaced a lot of the music. The only way to hear the actual music and the actual original cut of the episodes, because when it was re-airing on Nick at Night years and years ago, they put an extra commercial in. For cable. So you lost some of the show. But you can see the original episodes with the music on DVD only. And
wow. The music was iconic. The music is what helped shape it. And it became indelible.
Including the theme song.
The theme song, little help with my friends. The
only way to hear it with that version of the theme song is on the DVD. Crazy, right?
That blows my mind because that's, I think, what helps shape and makes movies iconic, like Forrest Gump, Braveheart. I feel like the music is always, it's like the movie has to be here and the music has to be here. And when both those things come together, it becomes indelible in the human consciousness in our minds.
Yes.
Oh my God. So did he become like a boyfriend for like was he like, or did you guys ever, was he, a first young love or no? So you guys just became really good friends.
Oh, yeah, of course. The whole cast. Although I would say that more than good friends, more like brothers. Because that's how I learned what pull my finger means, Yeah. I was just like proper good girl, and I had these boys, and they were all like doing pranks on each other and stuff. And I was not really part of that, but at the time I didn't. Now I have half brothers. But at the time I didn't have brothers and they were like my brothers.
That's amazing. And so would they ever prank you? Do you ever remember any prank stories?
No, thank goodness.
They never pranked you.
Except for the pull my finger. I got the pull my finger. I was like, okay. No idea.
Oh my God. Do you have any favorite memories, or were there any challenges sometimes? Because I imagine, were you also trying to juggle school? Were you homeschooled? Because now, when did you get the call that things were shifting? And now that you were in a 7-year contract, did you have to sign that?
About school? What do you mean?
So when things shifted for you from guest star to a series regular,
yes. Which was
did that happen immediately?
The pilot. It was a few days into shooting. No, because you didn't know if you're going to get picked up or not. So you don't know, but they have you in case you do get picked up, you're committed. So, and I didn't work every day at all. It was a filmed show. It was not a taped show in front of live audience or anything. Yeah. So on those shows, you work every day, even if you have like 2 lines in the whole episode, because you're there rehearsing. But on this show, it was like the movies that we shoot. It was filmed. And so one day you do these scenes, the next day you do some new other scenes. And so I was only there in the days that had scenes that I was in. And so sometimes there were some episodes I wasn't even in. And then sometimes I would work 2 days. Sometimes I would work all 5 days. But I had enough time off that I was able to go to a normal school. I went to Harvard Westlake in Los Angeles.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you had a normal childhood.
Ish, yes.
Ish. As best you can being an actor, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, I've had a very blessed life. I'm very grateful. And I'm really grateful to all this, nostalgia for the Wonder Years. There's so much nostalgia surrounding it. And that means that the parents who buy my math books trust me inherently because they grew up with me. And then I get to help their kids in math. Or then the Christmas movies that I do for Great American Family. I know that the nostalgia that is connected to me because of the Wonder Years helps to make these movies that much more warm and fuzzy for the audience. And so I just feel incredibly blessed. I know that some people are like, oh, the show I did when I was a kid, I want to like break off and branch out. And now I'm totally different. Well, you know what? Maybe I went through a phase of that when I was like 15 while the show was going on.
What was the phase? What was the phase?
As a teenager, you're trying to figure out who you are and you're like,
right.
I don't want to be defined by anything. But now I truly embrace it. I feel very, very fortunate.
And so that was also you discovering in high school that you loved math, right? So that was sort of like, as you're going to a normal high school, were there a lot of like other actors in that high school so they understood? So it was sort of like, oh yeah, she's an actor. It wasn't like a big deal.
I mean, there was a little of that. Tori Spelling was a couple of years ahead of me. But there weren't a lot of actors. And I remember when I started my 9th grade geometry class, my teacher said, hey, look, he pulled me aside. He goes, I understand. I've heard about what you do, but you're not going to do well in this class if you have to keep leaving. Mm-hmm. Of course, I did fine. And I was like, I'll show him, I remember that. I remember him being like, I was like, wow, he really doesn't believe in me. I mean, nothing. He just figured, well, it's a challenging class. And it was. Yeah. But I worked really hard. So,
yeah. And were there any favorite memories of, were there any favorite memories of Wonder Years or something that like is a core memory that sticks out at all?
From shooting the show?
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, the first kiss, of course, it was a huge big deal because it was my first kiss. And at the time I did have a crush on Fred.
Sure.
Again, it was sort of short-lived because then he became like my brother. The whole my finger thing. Yeah.
Totally.
So that's huge. That's probably the one that sticks with me the most. And then other little silly things. Like I always, for some reason, still to this day, I get really hungry right before my close-up. Not sure why. It's like my body goes, oh, you need to, kick into high gear and you need more sustenance. I'm not sure. Yeah. But I just remember the first time that I thought, or the only time I thought I could get away with chewing during a close-up and like nobody would know, because you're a kid, right? I just had a carrot and I was like, and I didn't realize that it was like, oh, we're actually like rolling all this time. So I'm like trying to finish crunching it and the camera is on my face and they probably like cut, like, what's going on? Do you have something in your mouth? I was like, oh God, I was so embarrassed. Again, as a teenager, you get so embarrassed over everything. And I was just mortified. So that's a memory too.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's so sweet. And okay, so now you have the Cinderella movie that's coming out. It's out now.
It is out, yeah. Cinderella Christmas Ball premiered Christmas season. So I'm not sure. I think at some point Great American Family might do like Christmas Fridays or whatever. But in January, usually, like I've got a movie that I did called The Winter Palace, and that one usually airs a lot in January. And so if you go to Great American Family, you can find some movie that I'm on that'll air like every week or so. There'll be something of that I've done.
No, I've seen that one. Too. Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, Winter Palace. Winter Palace was the first movie I ever did for Great American, actually.
Do you have any fun memories from that one?
Oh, I mean, they're all great. Yeah, gosh. Well, I remember we thought we were going to get real snow because we were shooting it in November. Like, we'll get snow. It's a winter. The movie premiered in January of 2022, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it never snowed for us. It rained and it was so hard because, and then the day after we finished, it snowed. It like dumped.
Come on. Why?
Yeah. But that was a really fun one. It's a royal one, and Neil Bledsoe was really talented, and we had a lot of fun.
And I loved your viral video of you guys recreating Last Christmas of George Michael, and he's just singing in your ear. So let's say that's him. He's like,
well, that was for the other movie that we did for Great American Family, Christmas at the Drive-In.
Yes.
And Christmas at the Drive-In is actually available now on PureFlix. So PureFlix is Great American Family's streamer. It's kind of like Netflix, but it's pure movies, right?
PureFlix. Yeah.
So Christmas at the Drive-In, which is a lot of people's favorite Christmas movie of mine. That one is available anytime. If you feel like a little Christmas joy at the beginning of the year, you can check it out.
Yeah. And do you have any favorite, like what are your sort of holiday things that you do? Do you have any rituals? Do you have any, is there certain things you do for Christmas with family? Any favorite memories?
Oh, we do a big family dinner, and I love making my Yule log cake. So that's, I'm not a baker at all. Like I never bake. It's always a disaster. I love cooking, like cooking dinner, but baking, no. It's just but the chocolate Yule log I will do once a year for Christmas, and it takes me 4 hours to do it.
Oh my God.
My mom wrote up the very specific instructions and like pages of them, like how to do everything. And I use that like my Bible, and I make sure to do every single thing that's on there with the timing. I don't take any shortcuts. I do everything like I'm supposed to, and it turns out great. And a Yule log, so it's a flat layer of chocolate cake, and then you make the cream as well. A Yule log, it's a log, like a piece of wood. So and then you spread on the whipped cream, and then you roll it up, and then you cut it so it looks like it's got the swirl of a log. And then you decorate it. You put your chocolate frosting on, and then marzipan for decorations. I like to take paintbrush, and Draco, my son, and I will do this together if I can convince him, which he still will. He'll still indulge me, even though he's 14. And you take food coloring and you paint it with a paintbrush, and you can make little candy canes and, snowmen or holly and berries, that kind of thing.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, I wish I cooked more.
I do have to wrap up.
Yeah, no, we're wrapping up. Yeah. I want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast and chatting about all things Wonder Years and Great American. And it's just been, you're awesome. Like, I always love spending time with you, and I'm so glad that we got to see each other at the Islanders.
I can't believe this, it's been an hour already. Crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's really crazy because we've had like 3 hour, sometimes we've had 3 hour conversations because it just goes, it flows. And I mean, like I found out so many new things about you. Like you're a math genius.
The math thing never came up. Like this is a huge part of my life. I've been writing math books for almost 20 years.
I can't even believe that.
That means you just don't read any articles about me ever, which is fine.
I mean, I don't read any articles about me either. So, like, I feel like, because I guess when we're talking about, our movies.
Yeah,
and we're talking about our movies, but we're also talking about relationships. And then we talk about, next time we can chat about God. And I know recently you were sort of getting into the last couple years, you started reading the Bible and how that changed your life. And, my relationship with God is hugely important because it's very more spiritual and meditation. But I think, I think the Bible has these allegories that just can help break things down about how to live your best life, And
I remember us talking about God in our first lunch that we had, and you were telling me about how you actually hear him speaking to you, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we could fill 10 podcasts, so we'll have to do it again.
We'll have to do it again. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Danica. This has been a joy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks,
Let's talk to you.
A whole nother level.